10 years to the day, we opened on the Ides of March 2016, and we will be closing on the Ides of March 26.
So many owners get stuck in this trap, this prism that they create for themselves. You've actually just got to come to terms that it's okay to go, I fucked up here.
We had a 12-course menu, $300 a person. It was a lot of work. I just knew that it's not what I wanted. I think for me at the moment led me to the decision to wrap the restaurant after 10 years. We had the December quarter super to pay, owe the ATO some money, the leases are coming up. You weigh it all up, it's like, you know what, the best thing to do was...
On this episode of Make Restaurants Profitable, we have Peter Gunn, and what a legend this guy is. Coming in, starting off from New Zealand through to Australia, worked with some of the greatest restaurants in Melbourne to then go and create pop-ups, open his own business, to now coming in and closing it 10 years to the day later. We're going to hear about his journey. Today in this episode, you're going to hear how to best start the excitement around your brand before you even open your restaurant. We're going to talk about how sometimes it's okay to call it when it gets too complicated and get back to the basics of the things that you enjoy. We're going to hear how he treats his staff to the point where he's got people that have stuck around for 6, 7, 8, 9 years and are still with him today. And just an all-round great conversation with an amazing restaurateur. Hi guys, welcome to Make Restaurants Profitable. And today I'm joined by Peter Gunn. My man, welcome. Thank you for taking time out to be here. So tell me, and for all the listeners, who are you? Where are you from?
Thanks, Tim. Thank you. My name is Peter Gunn. I'm originally from Wellington, New Zealand. I've been in Melbourne for the past 17 years.
Yep.
And most recently been running a restaurant called Ides on Smith Street in Collingwood.
Which is now you're pivoting.
Pivoting, yeah. I mean, through the course of the restaurant, through the journey of the restaurant's been open for 10 years. It's still open now. Got a month to go. I pivoted through my time running the restaurant with the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, the demands of like the customers, the changing in the landscape. COVID was part of that, and all of that stuff. And I think, Tim, I don't think pivot's the word I'm doing now. I'm 40. And I think maybe they say life begins at 40.
Dude, life changes at 40. Yeah. I just hit 41 and I reckon it's the biggest change in my everything for me.
Yeah. And so it's all roads, I think, for me at the moment led me to the decision to wrap the restaurant after 10 years. 10 years to the day, we opened on the Ides of March 2016.
Okay.
And we will be closing on the Ides of March.
10 years later.
2026, yeah.
That's crazy.
So that's 10 years is the life of the restaurant.
Yep.
14 and a half, 15 years is the life of the brand.
Yeah, so there's actually a couple of things I want to touch on today because I got really excited. How often do you go back to New Zealand? First up, that's my first question.
I haven't been back since September last year.
I want to touch on quickly, what's your take on New Zealand's hospitality scene? Because it's dire, man, from what I see.
It's extreme. There's like...
You're either crushing it?
Yep.
Or
it's difficult. So we close on our 10th anniversary.
Yep.
The week before we close, I'm heading to Auckland to cook with and celebrate the 10th anniversary of my friend's restaurant in Auckland, Paris Butter.
Wow.
So, they've been doing great things. They're in that higher end of dining, the fine dining avenue, tasting menus and whatnot, and they're doing well. They're doing well. They're going from strength to strength. And
do you think there's an oversupply of maybe there's an oversupply in New Zealand of baseline restaurants?
Look, I always felt, before I made my move to Australia, that New Zealand was quite easily, summarized. The diner was quantity over quality.
Yep. Okay.
That was my initial feeling. Now, I don't really have an answer. I haven't been back enough. I haven't dined out there enough.
And traveled enough around,
like, Melbourne's been home for every part of these past 10 years. And so to keep up with one pretty dynamic food scene is enough.
Yeah, there's enough going on here. Yeah. I think it's a tough game in New Zealand, but I want to talk. So you come to Australia, you started working with Ben.
Off the plane, I actually worked with a great chef, Teague Ezard, at a restaurant called Ezard in the city.
Yep.
So I was there but straight off the plane, like like I landed on Friday, and then the Monday I started work there, and so met some of my good friends when you guys showed up today. I was actually talking to one of my friends from back then.
Yeah, well, cool.
We worked together. Gary Maskell, he's got a couple of great restaurants here in Melbourne, Cesar in the CBD and Black Toro, and opened a rooftop restaurant. So he's just like, going from strength to strength, which is great. Like, because it was a great, like, when I landed, meeting chefs and people the same age that have been through, I won't say the same journey, but similar journeys, at different scales. But anyway, I was with Teague for a year, and then went out to the country. So there was big city, big change. Like, I mean, the population of New Zealand is here in this city. So, and then I went out to the country where things slowed down a little bit for me. It wasn't really my vibe. I'm not really a country boy. I grew up in the suburbs in New Zealand. But during my time out there, I met my now ex-wife. I met my current restaurant manager. We then, after my time there, and 5 years later, we sort of reunited, and he came to work with us and still running the restaurant to this day.
Really? That's cool.
Relationships are a big thing to him. I think you probably understand that the more and more you start working with, you work with people within the industry. When you're younger, you don't really give a fuck. You just think it's all about me. And then when you realize, oh shit, I actually need a little bit of help.
I can't burn this bridge. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Work that out. You can work it out pretty quickly. It can upset the wrong people, and it has sort of negative effects on the opportunities that eventually
does slow you down. Yeah.
So anyway, after my time out in the country, then I started working with Ben at Attica, and I was there for 5 years. I started as a chef de partie, and then finished my time there as the sous chef, and
that's when you started on pop-ups.
That's right.
Yesterday, when I was starting to really sort of dig in, I'm like, where's the value here today? So the pop-ups, I really love the fact that you started pop-ups before you went straight into your first restaurant. Because what I see a lot of, I guess, on our end, foodie coaches, is that there's a lot of chefs, front of house people who have been in the industry, their life is, or they've been in the industry for a long time. They're like, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And then they go straight out and they do their own thing. And it's like they've been hanging out in the shallow end where they can touch a bit in the pool, and then they go jump in the deep end and they're like, holy shit. Yeah.
It's me. It's my money.
Yeah.
It's you lose the comfort. Like, I find that I've obviously seen that a lot with staff that I've had working for me, and the responsibility that they do not have of
the naivety
bringing a customer in, and a lot of, I think, people don't think that when they're working for a big restaurant group, or they're working working at a very busy place, and yes, they might be the head chef, they have a very pivotal role in there. But a lot of the times, sadly, it's fucking true. They're just an employee. They're not the reason why people are actually going to said business or spending money there. Like it's across the board in all roles. It's from the chefs to the somms to the thing. Yeah, the somm can sell a nice bottle of wine, but at the same time, they wouldn't be buying that bottle of wine if they weren't going to that restaurant for whatever reason to begin with. And so you see a few sad stories where great chefs working at great places for long times then go out on their own, and like you just say, like, they just don't hit it. Like, the clientele that they think might follow doesn't, or not enough of them do, or they then realize that the bigger company that they're working for had the marketing budget, which they don't have, and so on. And I think I could probably say all that now, but fuck, man, at that time I had no idea either. But it was low risk. All I had was a credit card.
Yeah.
And I'd just go to buy stuff.
Yep.
Sell it. Withdraw cash. Pay the guys.
And you're
pay
done.
the invoices. That was it. It was simple. I didn't have to worry about BAS. I didn't have to worry about that. Well, I wasn't,
Yeah.
But certainly didn't have to worry about GST at that time. Like it was all just,
But the pop-ups at the start were really successful.
Yeah. And I guess that was the hardest transition, was to distill the energy of Ides that was happening once a month into a 5-day operation.
And how was Ben? Was Ben supportive in those pop-ups?
Supportive in the sense where he knew it was happening.
He
never restricted any of my movements to do so. But I was respectful to my role. It was a very demanding role. It was a very important role.
You still showed up for him while you did your own thing.
And my own thing was always done in my own time.
Yeah.
There was never any use of the Attica facilities or leveraging the brand or anything like that. You know what it's like. I think naturally it comes with. I had a few disagreements with people, businesses that were trying to leverage my role at Attica when they would ask me to come and cook as a guest or a collaboration and Ides, but then try and leverage it off my time at Attica, and I'd have to say, look, Attica's got to be removed. I'm trying to build my own fucking business, and you keep putting this one forward. Yeah, like that doesn't do anything for.
Well, it's respectful to Ben as well.
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah, like it was a lot. That time of my life was a lot.
Yeah, sounds exciting, but
it was. Yeah, I mean, I was having the same conversation with my daughter on the train this morning into school. She's like, I don't want to go. It's like you just need. Once you get there, once you start, once you see your friends and you get the momentum and you go play, and then you you get into it. Yeah, and you stay with it. I think there was. So it was almost like that at that time. I mean, I was 27. This is like it was just. No days off. You just go.
You got to do the
energy. Yeah, had the energy. Now, like I think, if I had my time, I probably would have slowed. If I had my time again, I probably would have slowed down a touch.
In what regards? Slowed down in how quickly you grew it, or slowed down to like really start learning the business side of things as you come through it, from a foundational point of view?
Yeah, both actually.
Yeah,
I think all. I think at that particular point in my life, I wanted everything all at once, all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And it just, it always just seemed like it was there.
It's so interesting because there was a big point of time where we would never even have we wouldn't work with startups. And the reason why we never would work with startups is because every conversation you had with them, they never had enough point and never had enough pain to want to invest the money in the knowledge to set the business up properly, because it was it's going to be fine, done this before, no drama. And then you talk to them 2 years later after they've torn up 100 or 200k, and they're like, oh, probably should have done this first. And it's like it's like that you're happy to spend the money on a dishwasher, but you're not happy to spend 20 or 25 grand to get the foundational stuff to get you set up from the start.
Right. I think that was one thing I've always been proud of, is to make sure that you pay for stuff. So of course, at that point, we never needed yourself or coaches or anything like that, because we had one simple, clear idea. It's just to
crushing it.
Just to push the creative boundaries of what we could, my friend Lindsay Fush and I, what we could do. We started at this, it was a pub in Kensington. It was all over the shop, man. They didn't really know what they were doing. And so it made me think I could do something here, because it's a blank canvas, or it's a messy canvas. And like what I was going to be doing, I knew it. It was going to be a set menu. It was going to be not like intensely like boundary pushing stuff by any means, but it was going to be something unique and what was not available in Melbourne at that particular time. We go back to 2012 here. Pop-ups were starting to happen, like not here in Melbourne. Like, Tim, we started this thing. Like restaurant pop-ups. Ides was the very first one that fucking stayed strong, was consistent, never missed a month. Ides, Latin for a day, falling roughly in the middle of each month. And we popped up every fucking month for 2 and a bit years before the opportunity came to turn into some permanent gigs. It was longer. I think it was like 3.5. But through that, off the back of the once a month pop-ups, there was international opportunities to go cook. There's all the collaborations. Collaborations I mentioned. But it all started with consistency.
Yep.
And it all started with paying people. Like,
yep.
So when I approached the venue, it was like, I'm not skilled in this stuff, but it was like, well, I don't want to show up with rubbish bags. I don't want to have to fucking bring dishwashing liquid. I want to use the facilities there. So I put in one of the line items was chemicals and cleaning. And like that, let's just say that was $100. That was in what I was willing to give the
Yep.
business that
Yeah,
I
you
was
pay your
working.
dues.
And ask them, what's the rent? What's it going to cost? What's the daily rate for me to use this place?
Yep.
They give me that. And I said, well, I put it in the line item. Then it comes to, how could this be an advantage for them? It's like, well, they've got all this booze on the shelf. Is it great booze? No. Is it anything like what we'd have in our cellar now? No.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking that far ahead. I was just thinking sort of like in that moment. So the incentive was we won't bring any booze. We'll just sell your booze. So all beverage sold
went back to
the business.
Dude,
and again,
such a win-win.
And we would then, like, we started in Kensington. We were cooking for about 20 people. Then it went to 30. Then it went to 40. Then I started buying some nicer things because we started using their plates, and I bought old restaurant plates. Like as I'm sort of packing down now and considering what I keep and what I don't, like we bought some plates off the Royal Mail Hotel, so Dan Hunter, that I worked at like 16 years ago, that I've still got, that are still like, they could live another life in another restaurant, that we still use to this day. But that was the investment. It's a crazy investment to think of back then, but it was like this little like basic white plate. It's this slight $5 upgrade that's carried me through this journey.
Yeah.
But you got to pay. You got to pay. You got to pay. You got to pay.
Pay for the quality.
You got to pay for the quality. So yeah. Anyway, once it started to get some rhythm, get a bit more serious, then we had offers to like, oh, do you want to come here? Do you want to come here?
Then people started putting up their hand, booking you in.
Yeah, and so then we went to a place in East Melbourne, and then the owners of the cafe in East Melbourne, it just like I'll say this, I could never have created Ides on computer.
Yeah,
I could never, like, from where it is today, from how it's ending. And everything it's been through. I couldn't have sat in a room at a boardroom and designed this restaurant and played it out. It's just been naturally organic and built over time.
All right, so I've got a couple of things here. If you're listening right now, I think there's two major takeaways from this pop-up, and this is why I want to talk about it, because I think it's something that's not leveraged enough in this industry. But if you've got a venue and your venue's ticking along, which is great, it can be a restaurant, can be a bar, there's no reason why you can't collab with an up-and-coming chef who wants to do something different once a month, or get a cycle of people through, because it's that excitement, that once a month thing. People are getting excited to go, what's going to come this month? What's happening this month? And I think in this hospitality, I think some places that might be trendy now don't stay trendy because they don't keep up the excitement of the brand. And it sounds like with Ides, that's what you did in month after month after month after month, because it would have been a different menu each month.
Yep. And like just with that last move, they expanded that business. So we started doing 40 seats. By the end of it, we were able to expand with them, and we were doing 80
That's
people
so
at
cool.
the end of the day. And it just happened. And month on month, fresh menu, we'd see a lot of the same faces. So we built trust with them, because we were trying things out, and we were, like the service style was, the chefs were running the food. It's always been a lot of raw energy behind.
A lot of passion.
Ides.
Which is everywhere in the restaurant industry, right? It's all passion and
it's
love.
all passion and love, and then at times it becomes fucking fatigue and
and
sadness.
And we'll talk about that in a sec. But how did you keep the marketing happening? Did you build an email list? Did you social media? Was it just all word of mouth?
Funny. Like a couple of those first days, I remember because we used to print all the menus and stuff at home, and this goes back to like a funny story when I was with my auntie in Christchurch, and they had this printing firm. Like massive printing firm. Like they're selling massive like $3,000-$4,000 printers and like massive things. And she wanted me to do some catering and stuff for them. But she made me this little flyer, but she made it on the home computer. It was like it was quite funny. It was nice. It was cute. But I always like that, like, you know, paper flyer. There wasn't any use of Adobe or any sort of like graphic design things. You just sort of knocked it up on Word. And then one time I had this great idea that I made these flyers. This is way back, we're like 2014. And I made these flyers. It's once a month. And I would go to the Coles. I went to the Coles out in, it's near the Flemington Racecourse. I would go to the Gourmet Traveller and put these stupid flyers into the shop.
Oh, really? Like guerrilla marketing stuff?
Yeah, I don't know where that ever landed, but fuck, it was funny. It was so funny looking back on that. But yeah, and then so that was like one crazy thing. The other was Twitter was before Instagram hadn't really jumped off, so I was just trying to do some Twitter. Like, I'd love to be able to find that old account. I haven't used Twitter for years, but just fluff things with terrible photos, and then eventually MailChimp, sending out EDMs, and then one big hit was Kate Stevenson from 3AW, the radio station. She came anonymously and reviewed it.
Loved it.
And it just, you know, one thing led to another.
Yeah.
She blew it up. Then we had the Good Food come in and review it. And like, there was, we got our, like a hat, their hat score, which was 15 out of 20 for the pop-up. And
that's cool.
That was like, this is when we like using communal tables out in the dining room with as prep benches, and like setting up crazy little chef tables with like on one half. Yeah, so it was little bit by little bit and then we launched the restaurant eventually with Monica Brown, a PR agent. She really helped us get running there.
So you've always thought about the marketing. Like you launched with a PR agency. You already had a database that you built up through a few years of pop-ups.
Yeah, that sucks when your database gets so big. You got to start paying for the subscription.
Yeah,
it's
real. That's real first world problems. I can imagine a few people. I wish my database was that big. Yeah. So okay, cool. So you kind of had this runway into the restaurant.
Yeah, little bit by little bit, step after step. You know, it's always been like one day at a time.
Yeah.
Forecasting, I think, is difficult, but it's something that sort of subconsciously happens. You know, more than you know, more than I realize it.
Yeah.
It happened. You know, and strategy is a massive.
It's really important.
Yeah,
it's important that you have it right.
Strategy is crazy. Like,
it's probably the smartest strategy I've heard from a chef going out and setting up his own thing, though. You know, building it, because you got nothing to lose with a pop-up, right? You do it once, it doesn't work, you don't do it again. You do it, you know, for 12 months, you build a database of, you know, maybe a couple hundred people, or depending on how big your events are, 1,000 people. And then you've got something to launch when you launch your restaurant. Whereas a lot of people just go out and they just start their restaurant. Yeah. I think that's I really love the idea. That's why I wanted to talk about it. I think it's a really good opportunity.
Yeah. You know, before, so 2023, so Ides is at 92 Smith Street.
Yeah.
2023, we built a bar at 90 Smith Street.
Okay.
So we took over this
next door.
Right next door. We took over this lease, and we actually pop-up. Well, we ran the bar as a pop-up first and foremost too. We like gutted the space.
Yep.
Put up a couple of like this cost though. This was not like
wasn't like original.
Yeah. It cost us about $5,500 to put 2 benches, two counter style seating, which is what I wanted to go for.
Yeah.
It's 2 separate counter style seating. Put a blade sort of wall to separate the second half of it, and an air conditioner in there, and then I painted it and did all that stuff, and then we just ran it as a casual sort of offshoot.
Yep.
to sort of gauge if it was worth doing.
Did you sign the lease before you did that, or did you just kind of
We
get
signed
a
the
month
lease, but we knew like if we would do something with it, not completely locked in on the idea that
Yeah,
it would
that's
be
cool.
Ides. So
you just tried before you bought? Well, you locked in, but you tried
locked in,
before you went all in on one idea. You just gave the concept a go.
yeah. Well, you see, like
love
there's a
that.
lot of in this area in Collingwood, like where we are now, the Common's a beautiful new building, and
Yeah.
there's like in the base of it, there's like a bento and coffee shop, and
Yeah.
it's nice and shiny. I've never been there personally, and there's no criticism towards it, but there's that side of Collingwood,
Yep.
and then there's up around the corner, there's Akasiro, there's like Raw Dog, like older building,
Yeah.
choppy kind of seats here and there.
Yeah, it's got more character.
Real world character, got Collingwood charm,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was ensuring that what we would do would have that energy as well.
That's
and
cool.
It can carry over because I say like it's changing. Smith Street, where we're located, is changing. There's like with these the new buildings and the gentrification and everything like that. We've gone from like all these independent restaurants to now we're getting a KFC and a Guzman and Gomez and it's before long. I don't know how much more. Like there's still great restaurants here. Like the Tom Serafian's opened up like the best new restaurant in town down the further end of the street, but right in the center of like the middle of the street.
Yep.
We've got those.
Yeah, it's starting to change. Yeah, nothing lasts forever. And so obviously, so you're 10 years on, and now obviously you've made the decision to pull pin on the business or the current model.
Yep.
What led you to you making a decision that it's ready for a change or time's up?
I think it's internally first and foremost. It's me as a person, what I want to be doing, what I want to be cooking, how I want to be running a business. It's quite simply, I want to be involved in something with less moving parts than a fine dining restaurant.
And I want to touch on this because I feel like what happens is a lot of owners, we almost build a prison for ourselves because we come up, we're younger and we create this idea in our head that we want to create this thing, and then we just go all in to create it, and then we create it, and then we look at it and we go, holy shit, what have I done?
Yep.
But because of our egos there, we don't want to admit it to ourselves. So we don't want to change it because then what will people think if we change it, or what will people think if we close it down? Like they're going to think I failed. So we keep doing it and we keep struggling along. And I think so many owners get stuck in this fucking trap of this business, this prism that they create for themselves. And then they kind of spend the rest of the time like a mime on the walls trying to get out, but don't really want to get out because they're afraid. So
that's not even talking about your cash flow.
We're not even talking about the money. We're just talking about the model.
Because that can keep a business like locked in for some time as well. You don't have enough money to get out. You don't have enough money to pay the bills. So you got to keep trading to pay that, but you're picking up more bills along the way
it's this cycle.
The cycle, yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you do get into that position, you've actually just got to come to terms that it's okay to go, I fucked up here.
Yeah, I made a mistake.
Or I don't like this anymore. I don't want to do it.
Well, that's, where it relates for me is it got to the point last year, the beginning of last year, we had a 12-course menu. And I was like, fuck, I don't even go have a
12-course menu.
Yeah, it was just too much.
Yeah.
We've got a little shitbox kitchen. It's pumped out some food over the time.
Max.
I'm pretty happy with what we've been able to achieve with this kitchen. All the money that's been spent on the business has always been customer facing, like
experience.
Not so much experience, but just making sure all the touch points in the restaurant are beautiful, well maintained, are looked after.
Okay, can you talk to me about those touch points?
Like as recent as 2 years ago, we've just replaced all our leather wrapped tabletops with solid brass walnut trimmed tables. after 8 years in business, that's how focused we are, and making sure that the place is always.
That's so cool.
What
other things did you focus? What other things?
Carpet. There's not too many restaurants with carpet these days. Lighting, sound upgrades. The better sound quality in speakers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Cutlery, the crockery, all of this stuff is all.
So, one thing that you've done there is maintain your standards all the way through.
The whole way through. And this is, so there's an internal part of me that wants to wrap the restaurant, but then there's also the part that I'm kind of at the point in my cooking where I don't want those standards to apply to what I'm offering.
Yep.
Meaning I want a more casual style space. I don't want to have to because when you replace something like that, it's not cheap.
Nah, man.
It's a lot.
And the general public have no idea because they look at their own dining room table like, oh, it's this much, but they don't get it's not like that.
And I mean, I know there's certain households that the dining table gets a fair usage, but when you've got 400 people coming through the place a week, and everybody's different, and some people have elbows on, some people tap, some people bang their knife, the thing's got to be.
It's got to be hearty.
It's got to be hearty.
So all the money went back into making sure the standards on everything front-facing customer always got maintained.
And when I say that, I get
that.
Yeah, I mean, we just haven't expanded the kitchen at all.
No, but you've kept up. Yeah, because that's another thing that you see a lot of is that you see people who get these businesses and they spend these huge sums of money on fit out.
Straight off the bat. It
blows me away. And then you go in there 10 years on and they haven't touched a fucking thing.
They can't.
They haven't touched a thing.
And usually, you see it with I think way back when we opened, the beige cafe was a thing, everybody's minimalist cafe and shit. And now that just, I think it's now just aged, because now it's not a beige, now it's not a minimalist beige colored cafe. It's like a minimalist glass walled cafe or something like that. It just ages. So when we opened Ides, it was we spent $75K cash to put some carpet tiles down, wrap the tables, and put some there's none in this room, but some eco cladding on the walls, which we got away with because we just covered the whole place. We got away with just gave the room a texture.
We had
black and white photos shot by my friend Rebecca Newman. She framed them, got them all nice and glossy, and that was it. Then we were live. We had all the plates from the pop-up and bits and pieces.
Tables and chairs. And then little bit by little bit, we just improved, upgraded. Tim, I don't even know if we were going to last 10 years, The idea was when we took over the lease, so we sublet it from a restaurant that had just expanded and moved into the city, Victor Leong's Liho Fook. So we sublet the lease from them, and bought the chattels and everything from them,
what was remaining from them. And when I agreed to go in there, there was for the first 2 weeks, there was a AO yellow planning permit poster in the window, because the owners wanted to knock it down and turn it into something shiny. And so there was never any it's always been fucking raw energy, high risk.
Yeah.
And that was part of the risk was, it's going to cost us a little bit of money over time, but.
Yeah, but 75 grand on a fit out, 10 years ago, 75 grand was valued differently than now, of course. But you're seeing some of these fit out bills for some of these guys. Some of the venues they're doing. I just think, man, that you guys need to do some solid turnover to make that back in the next 5 years.
5 years. At the very least. Yep. I mean, the most highly publicized one at the moment is the restaurant in Victoria Gardens. Is like a $10 million fit out for, elite fine diner.
Yeah, it's a different. I don't get it. It's a different league.
Yeah. I couldn't fathom that, and that's not something that appeals to me.
That scares me a bit.
Interests me, And,
Yeah.
I'm proud of the way that we've done it. Like it has put pressure on us at times because when we finally committed to building the bar, that was a little under 300K, and a fair bit of that came out of cash flow and partners money, and then most recently last year. So we ran the bar and the restaurant separately.
Yep.
Not separately. We didn't run them separately, but they were separate. And then we had a bar on the restaurant side, which we deleted and put a archway through the wall to join the two spaces. Which it was just a natural progression.
Yeah, it just gave it more room.
Just gave it more room, and it just gave the whole place a singular energy.
Yep.
And it just allowed everything to
flow better.
Yeah, flow better. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously experience, energy, big things here. And you're just talking about the energy of the venue and the flow of the venue. What's your take on energy around staff and the way what do you look for in a great team? Because obviously, you're pretty switched on to understand what a customer needs and how, you got to maintain your standards across your fit out and your customer experience. That's one side of it, but your staff are probably 80% of that. So what do you look for when you're looking for team? What do you look for when you're maintaining standards? How do you tackle that?
I think it's there's never, I haven't found a single rule that wins in this part of the business. Like, everybody's different.
Yep.
We know that. And having different personalities and people within my business has always helped the business be what it is.
Yep.
I think in that example, it's like, I don't write any scripts for anybody to explain the food. We taste, we share, and I want people to sell the dishes or the wine in their own words and how they feel about it.
Yep.
So personality, over experience has always been one of the guiding sort of like principles for me. As long as they can communicate with and well within the team, we can teach what we offer.
So your biggest thing is obviously personality and communication ability.
It's pretty important.
Yeah,
it's pretty important. I think if we draw a lot of mostly in the kitchen, but we get a lot of international workers. I think at the moment kitchen myself, so New Zealander, Australian, Italian, Taiwanese, and a Korean.
Yeah,
that's what makes up my current.
So it's pretty multicultural.
That's what
in
makes
there.
up my current kitchen staffing. And there's been language barriers over time.
Yeah, I was just sitting there thinking, can you imagine if everyone spoke their native tongue?
That's right. It's
with the Kiwi running the show.
It's so it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes takes respect.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to there's no point, and I reckon I probably found this out the hard way at times as well. You can't hire someone who's in the interview process or the trial process, whatever steps are taken, whose second language is, or it's not even really their second language. If they can't speak much English, you can't direct them as fluidly as we're conversating right now. You have to take the time.
Yeah.
Got to be patient.
Slows you down. Yeah.
And what that does, it helps you put your processes in order. Meaning,
makes you think about what you're doing.
I'm sure you're familiar with apps like Restoke and
like
putting the recipes in there. You have the costing of the recipes. That's good for me, and that's good for knowing what we're selling things at and how much things are costing, so you can again fucking pay the right pay people. But documenting that recipe, making sure it's correct and updated, the steps are all written for the staff to follow.
Yeah.
Because if there's a lot of, I think within kitchens, or the different cultures and everything it sort of gets broken down pretty easily well, pretty quickly when everybody's just coming together for the one thing, which is to cook some food with integrity and then serve it, and the other thing is you want them to be happy. You want them to
enjoy coming to work.
So I think in the early days when it was go for us, we were pushing like at times 60 odd hours. I've had a little rough run personally over the last sort of 5-6 months where I've been like working a lot more than I would like to. But my staff average at that 38 to at a stretch would be 44 hours.
Yeah.
And that's all part of that respect thing, that's all part of like, this is what the job, this is, we don't pay over and above crazily because we just simply can't afford it. But we're always paying like just a touch over the award.
Respectful, give them a great place to work. And I imagine given the type of food that you're doing, they're learning a lot as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like we had, I've got one of my guys now who was a chef at a pub and then sort of had jack of it. Then he just came and did some dishes with us. And then little by little, we started doing some prep. And then he started tasting the dishes. Then he started liking the vibe. And now he's working full time, as a chef again.
Yeah.
So it's reignited his passion. That sort of stuff.
Cool.
That's cool. That sort of motivates me and, gives me incentive to keep improving for the guys. But yeah, good stuff. There's always personality over experience.
Yep.
I think for certain roles, age is a factor, which can sometimes be overlooked if you're desperate and whatnot. Like there's certain roles within like
you're talking
the
about
floor.
for old people or for young people?
Well, it's both. So older people, you want, I think to some degree, you want your like restaurant managers, maybe you're
to be a little bit more mature.
Yep. Bit past the out every night sort of phase.
Party phase. Yep.
But you want maybe your younger CDPs and everything like with enough stamina to go 5 days a week,
Do young people even want to work that hard anymore?
I don't know. I guess there's a pretty big debate, right?
Yeah, man, because, and I guess every staff's different. I was talking to Martin Lang in Brizzy. He's got a bunch of bars, and he's just like, Tim, I just don't know how these people work. They only want to work 15 hours a week. And I'm like, what the fuck do you do with the rest of your time? How do you spend your money?
I've got one thing that's maybe it's overlooked at times from a chef who's obviously closing the restaurant.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people want to do this kind of work anymore.
No.
It's not that they don't want to work. It's just they don't want to do this kind of work. You see COVID wiped out a
It took some fucking phenomenal people out of this industry.
No job security.
Yep.
No long-term benefits for a lot of younger people. Once if they go through the hospitality training early on and they're progressing towards food and beverage directors or managements, which is how these courses are sold. They're designed to put people into the corporate world. It feels like.
Or they're sold as that at least.
Yeah. And so they go to the hotels and things where I guess to some degree there is a bit more job security, opportunity to travel, opportunity to move through. But smaller independent restaurants are, it's harder to get to find people to want to do the work that is happening within some of the walls.
As an industry, what's your take on how we change that? And it's not by one person doing it. It's obviously a whole industry needs to change the way. And I think it's slowly happening. I think our generation now is almost dealing with the hangover of the generations previously where, if you wanted to become a chef, you had to do fucking 60 hours a week and get yelled at and, bust your ass every day and go without. Whereas now it's a very different working environment, probably from even when you first came through.
Yeah.
So I think right now as an industry, we're dealing with that, but we need to flick the switch and make hospitality almost like hospitality great again, but like the want for people to, as a rite of passage, like it was a rite of passage when we were coming through to go and be a glassy or go on wait tables. It's not so much anymore.
No, it's not so much. It's used as an income whilst they study.
Yeah.
And other things. I don't know. In my opinion, I guess it's on how to change that. I don't know, Tim. Honestly, I don't know. It's part of my journey outward. I think is not actually thinking about that. Like,
yeah, it's fair.
There's I know there's great programs like I know like the bigger groups that sort of run Melbourne more so like the Lucas Group and Trader House and so on. Like I know they put a hell of a lot of effort into training and maintaining staff, but with a lot of the times it goes back to that personality over experience kind of thing as well. It's there has to be something from within
to want to go
and do it, or to want to keep showing up to do it. There's been lots of stories for the longest time of how bad it is to work in kitchens, or how
you don't get paid properly, you don't get your super paid,
which is bullshit. Like, yes, that's from.
It has happened. Yeah,
that's happened. But
and the media's flogged it too.
I know. It's a lot of negative media around it, and that doesn't help. That doesn't help. So yeah, I don't really have any answers to change. I think it's if you find the right people. Like I mentioned Liam. So Liam, restaurant manager, we became friends at the Royal Mail Hotel. I went and worked 5 years. He travelled, he worked as well, and then we just reunited. And then we've been working together for the past 10 years.
How have you guys maintained, and I want to do this quickly because I want to move on to your transition, but how have you guys maintained a working relationship for 10 years?
I think just being fucking brutally honest.
Yeah, cool. And you both take it on the chin. You don't, no emotion.
Yeah, there's, the emotions, that like, it hasn't been all rainbows.
Yeah, okay.
Fucking unicorns, but it's been respectful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Liam's just one of the long-term stuff. Like Henry Salt, who's my head chef, finished in October last year. He was with me for 8 years,
Yeah, wow.
Before Henry, Zachary First, who's, doing his own great things. He was with me for just under 6 years. I had a sous chef in between those two. He was there we sponsored him. He's from Korea. Gary, he's got his own little place, Pocket. Like, he was with me for 7 years, Hayley McCarthy, who's a sommelier in her own right, she was with me for 7 years. Like, it's always about those relationships and bringing those people through. So I think what gets harder, maybe just to sort of close on that, just had this idea now, is when you go for these bigger groups that, sometimes the younger person doesn't have somebody that won't be taken under their wing by somebody.
Not mentored properly.
Yeah, mentored properly by the direction. There's sort of, and maybe I can't speak to this, but I say, like, sometimes that person that maybe is responsible for mentoring is just doing it for a fucking paycheck as well, and it's just
I get it.
Flows down to the point where
it's just getting thinned out. And
that's as we talk about the transition, that was one of the options that me and my partners spoke about was, do we find a head chef and let it go in a new direction under new guidance. But that would require some mentoring from me, and that would not be an overnight sort of
that's a transition.
It's a transition, and it's a fairly decent one. So, and it was something that I'm not willing to do. I think I've been a pretty good mentor to a lot of people.
If you've ever had people in your team for that long, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and I think the whole thing about Ides is I can't do it half-assed. You just can't. It's been a big responsibility.
Yeah,
one that I'm happy to.
Let's talk. We got about 10 minutes to go. I want to talk about, if you're okay with it, talk about your transition of Ides. Obviously, winding it up. Well, not winding it up, but bringing it to an end of an era, and then how you got to that thought pattern and why. Because I feel like there's probably some people here who are like almost at the end, and they probably need to hear some other people's story around the decision making behind it.
Yeah. So I referenced earlier on about we got to the point where we had a 12-course menu.
Yeah.
And that, I think, was the point for me, was that like $300 a person. It was a lot of work. Needed more staff. It's more people. Like, it was. From that moment, I just knew that it's not what I wanted.
What was it? Were you sitting there at one point looking at the menu going, fuck, there's 12 courses here. What have I done? Do you remember that point?
I do. It was good. Like, it was good, but I think, like, maybe subconsciously it was something that I always, like, I was working towards.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it just got, like, it's upwards of $300 a person. Never do I ever want to be in that realm. I've always liked to sit on the lower end of the tasting menu.
Yeah.
Business model.
Mm-hmm.
Then we sort of realized, money's getting tighter out there. I don't think it's not necessarily that it wasn't busy, but it could sort of feel like this shift.
Yep.
Like, and then
people are thinking now before they go out and spend $1,000 on a dinner.
That's right.
Between two people.
That's right.
Yep.
So, yeah, I just decided it was a weekend. I think I just came in and said, we're going to stop doing the 12. So we have the 3, the 6, and the 12.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, there's a 3-course, 6-course, and 12-course. And 12-course was that's where it all started. And then the other menus were just concise versions of
same dishes, but just less. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
So I thought, fuck it, just get rid of the 12. So we just chopped off the big price ticket, which almost, brought the menu entry price, or the max entry price at around $200 a head.
Yep.
And then from there, I shaved off the little petit four, and I shaved off the fucking dicky little appetizer snack you give. And then it became this, like, straight up and down 6-course. It's 4 courses, but 6 dishes. We include bread and another little, 2 desserts at that particular time, I think. Anyway, and it just felt better.
Yeah.
There's more pace.
Yep.
It's more alive.
Yep.
It was more dynamic, It didn't require, like, if you try and change a 12-course menu, like, if you imagine how many ingredients are on a 12-course menu.
Yeah, I'd look.
And in an effort to not repeat an ingredient or something, and you want to use this, that, there, it's like a fucking mind map. Like, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that was the starting point for me. Was like, I just want simplify.
Yeah.
So by condensing, we were able to do more, because we could, be more dynamic and move
faster and change things up.
Yeah, and then with that, like, you realize, okay, now that we're not serving 12 courses, there's less interaction at the table. There's less interruptions for the guests, and it just felt better.
Started getting easier.
Yeah. And then with the bar, we introduced we were serving a steak night.
Yep.
And this is not like
another
just
pop-up.
a steak at a plate, and some side dishes. And then little by little, this thing just, like, gained its own momentum.
Yep.
And, now it's one of the busiest sort of nights of
I love steaks and sides.
Yeah, everybody does.
Oh man,
everybody
so good.
Does. And it's approachable. It's simplified. It's elevated to what
to your standards.
Yeah, and to what other steak nights are. And this comes with what the restaurant looks like, because the restaurant's sick. It looks beautiful. Like I just mentioned, it's like freshly renovated. Less than, like, the most recent part of a improvement of the place was Easter last year.
Yeah.
So, but that was it. Like, that was probably about as low as I could take the standard. I think, not the standard, the offering.
Yeah.
And with that, over the time, I felt good about it. But then, that was sort of 2 years ago, like I said. But then it got to, like, last year, and it's like, well, nothing changes. And I think I've try to make it pretty clear through this whole chat that it's always about the progression or the change or the improvement or whatever that is. And then I realized, like, I don't want to be just cooking set menus. And with the bar, we had the steak, and then we served a la carte dishes there. So I made the plan to sort of push the a la carte over the set menu thing to sort of, again, just break down the perception of Ides fine dining. Yeah. And then that worked. Like, we went from like 12 course to offering a la carte and steak and a smaller, even fucked off the word tasting menu and just set menu. You know, like,
Yep.
And then it sort of, it's at that point where it's good, everything was great, but I believe that's where it ends It's because the place is shiny, beautiful. I can't just start serving bowls of ramen out of there, or soup, as much as that, because that's like, I want to cook skewers and that kind of stuff. We had this like banging fried chicken burger in the bar and everything, but it doesn't relate to the dining room.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to go down that path of cooking.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where, unless I really...
Your brand's going to get messy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we went through the summer. We're looking at the financials and everything. Our supplier debt's minimal. We had the December quarter super to pay. Owe the ATO some money.
Yep.
Partners, we owed a little bit.
Yep.
The leases are coming up.
Yep.
You know?
Just like call it.
Yeah, it's everything. You weigh it all up. It's like, you know what? The best thing to do is just to wrap it.
And when you made that decision with your partners, and we haven't really spoken much about your partners at all, when you made that decision, how did you sleep that first night?
When we made that decision, I literally looked at my phone. I had a staff member calling sick. I got to the restaurant. A new hire starting behind the bar couldn't make it in on his first day. And I thought, got the jump on this fucking shit.
I'm done. I'm done.
But, you know, at the same time, it was like, I felt good about it. We had the strategy. It wasn't like happening overnight.
Yeah.
We worked out, okay, so pay the staff, get the supplier, get all of that stuff in order, contact the ATO, get that in order, work out how I speak to the staff.
Yeah.
I made a message. So I didn't tell anyone. I had to speak with one guy who we're in the early stages of sponsorship with. Let him know that we couldn't go through for various reasons, that I couldn't sort of like just
talk about. Yeah.
Then I went and hung out with, so way back, Lindsay Fush, who I started this with, who then he lives in country Victoria, so it was a bit too hard for him to commute. So I continued with the brand. I went out and hung with him, ran it by him. We spoke about it, and he's got a restaurant in Hamilton, Victoria that they've just closed as well to focus on the coffee shop offering that they've got. And thought, yep, this is it. So then I recorded a message, called a staff meeting. We had a meeting planned, but in the meeting I spoke to my key staff and let them know that this is happening. It was 8 weeks sort of into the future. Gave them the opportunity to fucking be angry or make any choices. I just said, you know, I want you guys all here to ride this out. Understand if it
if you don't,
and everything, and you know, all but one, which is the guy who didn't show up on his first day.
No, he didn't. That was it. He didn't show up again.
He didn't show up. Yeah, so he worked out the week, I think, and then he was rostered on for another shift, as you know, and he just didn't show up.
Typical hospital way.
Yeah. So you know, and that's again, I think that was, and I would say to him, like I was saying earlier, was that there was no relationship built there.
Yeah.
You know, there was no.
Yeah. It's just transactional, right?
That was. So, yeah. Then everybody's locked in. I'm still locked in to the very last day. You know.
Yeah.
And the as far as the transition goes, like you mentioned earlier, we've got a few people coming to look at the space, but not want to move on the fit out in the restaurant. The business, I don't think, is of any value to anyone. Well, I don't want it to be. I don't want to see the name.
No. You want to own it to the end, right?
Yep. Yeah. And we've actually had a couple of successful conversations with a couple of short-term people, like in the form of
Pop-ups.
And
Cool.
So I think
dude, that'll be a fitting ending.
That's right. There's a lot of full circle bits and pieces that I feel like have happened through. Like to wrap this up, you know, the date's really a good one.
Yeah.
our menu offering. So, all that waffle that I just gave about the menu and the change and whatnot, we're right back to where we started on like one singular menu.
That's cool.
And then we doubled down on our steak nights, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the one single menu for the remaining time. And it just allows, me to control the costs, what we're spending.
Yep.
What's
it just gives you a
in.
bit more control
Just
on the way up.
Yeah.
What are you doing next? What can everyone expect?
Less.
Yeah.
Less. I don't have anything rock solid at the moment. Nothing worth disclosing, but I've got a couple of like bits and pieces, but less is what people can expect.
Yeah, like, just focus internally, you or your family for a little while, and just
I don't need a break. I just want to be doing something different.
Yeah,
like the kids are demanding, not like demanding in a good way. Like we need to.
They're kids, man.
We've got bits and pieces that we need to do, and the balance of my co-parenting relationship is great. But Novella, my ex-wife, she needs assistance just as much as I need assistance on days that we've been working and so forth. And I just want to be more present. Like I think even on the announcement that we announced it was closing, it was the same day my son started high school. And I had to work that night and
I get it.
Like it's just just those changes. So
I respect that.
I just want to get to the point. I just want to be doing something where my kids can walk freely through whatever space I'm working in.
Yeah.
And that I can be at home at night.
Yeah. Yeah, I respect that. It's amazing when you get to 40 how your priorities start changing a bit. Things change. So one final question before we wrap this up. What advice do you have for someone who is there wanting to start a restaurant? So the chef, front of house, or someone who's sitting at home, been watching MasterChef, going, fuck yeah, I could cook like a legend. I want to go start a restaurant. I want to do fine dining. What's your advice to them?
I would think finding a mentor first and foremost.
Yeah.
Finding someone that can offer some guidance.
Yeah.
Whether that's financially, whether that's to improve their fine dining skills, whether that's to a fitness coach or someone that can keep them mentally sound.
Yep.
I think finding a mentor and establishing a routine first and foremost before you attack anything is pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
And then whittling down all the fucking ideas, because you can have so much. It's pretty hard to find a single lane.
Yeah.
If you unless you're trying to do a fusion, or if you are going to do a fusion, what's your fusion? Is it Italian, Japanese? Is it fucking French, Chinese? Is it even your fusion concept should have a narrow focus. I think, narrowing down the focus, establishing a routine, and really just fucking putting your Nikes on and just doing it is.
Just do it and get some mentors and be smart about it all the way through.
Don't spend your life savings straight off the bat.
Yeah, be smart about it.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. I've come across some people they're retired and they've spent their retirement savings buying a restaurant or a cafe going, oh, well, we just bought this for retirement just to have a bit of income on the side while we holiday. And it's like, motherfucker, you bought the wrong type of business.
Yeah.
And I say that respectfully.
Well, you can, like those smaller businesses, I think, especially, one like mine is you sort of buy yourself a job.
Do buy yourself a job.
You buy yourself a job.
Especially in your level of business, like you need to, you run a 12-course menu at that sort of level of standard, your passion. There's points where you're going to have to be there to keep inspiring your team to keep showing up and high. Yeah, I get it.
Yep.
Well, man, thank you so much for sitting down and being honest and having a chat today. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Easy.
Awesome.
I mean, it's nothing to, and again, like you said, there's nothing to, got to be open.
Yeah.
Got to be, because there's like-minded people out there. They just don't know it. You just don't know because you haven't, been able to connect for certain things. You can have other interests, but there's these types of things can bring people together pretty quickly.
100%. We're going to talk more about it. Thanks, bro.
Pleasure.